Listen, most women think men chase them because of looks, charm, or luck. Wrong. Men chase what makes them feel alive, what makes them feel challenged, what makes them feel like they found something rare. And that's exactly why I'm about to give you 3 forbidden phrases you should say if you want any man to stop scrolling, stop searching, and start chasing you like you're the prize. Pay attention. This isn't about manipulation. This is about psychology. Ever notice how most conversations feel predictable? Someone says something, we nod, we smile, we give the safe response. And then what? The spark dies. That's exactly why so many women end up frustrated, wondering, why doesn't he chase me? Why doesn't he lean in? Here's the truth. Most of us are running on autopilot in conversations, and autopilot doesn't create attraction. It creates boredom. If you want a man to feel pulled toward you, you have to break that pattern. And this is where one of my favorite phrases comes in. I wasn't expecting that. It's simple. It's short, but it's a disruptor. When a man hears those 4 words, it hits him like a green light flashing in his brain, because all of a sudden, he's not sure what you're thinking. He's curious. He's engaged. He's leaning forward. Think about the last time someone surprised you with a reaction. You probably felt your mind race a little bit, right? You wondered, what do they mean by that? Did I say something good? Interesting? Funny? That tiny moment of tension, that gap in certainty, that's what creates attraction. It's not about playing games. It's about waking him up from the script he's been running every day with every other person. Picture this. He's telling you about a project he's working on or a trip he just took. And instead of saying, that's nice, or, oh, cool, you tilt your head a little and say, I wasn't expecting that, and pause. He's going to ask, why? What do you mean? And that's where the fun begins. You just turned a flat conversation into an engaging one. You just got him to invest, to chase, because now he wants to know what's going on in your mind. This phrase works because it does 3 things at once. First, it validates him. You're letting him know he said something worth reacting to. Second, it invites him to go deeper. He wants to explain, share more, impress you. And third, it puts you in the driver's seat. You get to reveal how you feel on your terms. That's powerful. And here's the part most people miss. It's not just about the words. It's how you say them. The tone matters. The timing matters. If you rush through it, you lose the magic. If you say it with a flat face, you miss the spark. But if you slow down, let there be a little pause, maybe even smile or look him in the eye before you finish your thought, boom. That's when he feels that electric little pull toward you. Men don't chase what feels easy. They chase what feels rare. And when you use a phrase like, I wasn't expecting that, you're showing him that he surprised you, that he's different, that he's not just another guy blending into the crowd. That's what makes him want to do more of whatever he just did. Because now he's not just talking, he's earning your interest. It's also a great way to set the tone early. If you're dating, this phrase lets him know you're paying attention, that you're not just there to nod and agree, but to engage. And men secretly love that. They might not say it out loud, but they crave that feeling of having to impress someone, having to work a little harder. It's what keeps the excitement alive. So next time he shares something with you, don't rush to fill the silence with the safe answer. Don't hand him your reaction on a silver platter. Give him a moment of mystery. Let him feel like he earned the next part of the conversation. That small shift will make him feel more connected to you than a dozen compliments ever could. Because at the end of the day, connection isn't built by saying what everyone else says. It's built by creating moments that stick. And I wasn't expecting that is one of those moments. Now let's talk about something most people are scared to do, challenging him. Most women are taught that to keep a man interested, you have to be agreeable, easygoing, low maintenance. But here's the thing, men don't fall for easy, they fall for meaningful. And meaning doesn't come from agreeing with everything he says, it comes from giving him something to rise to. That's why I love the phrase, I bet you can't. Because it instantly flips the energy. It wakes him up. It lights up that part of his brain that says, oh, really? Watch me? Men are naturally competitive, not just with each other, but with themselves. They want to prove they're capable, that they can measure up, that they're worthy of the prize. And when you throw down a little playful challenge, you're handing him an invitation to do exactly that. Here's the mistake a lot of people make. They think a challenge has to be confrontational. It doesn't. It's not about starting an argument or putting him down. It's about sparking that playful tension that makes him want to engage more with you. Picture this. You're sitting across from him. You say, I bet you can't guess my favorite movie. And then you lean back, smile, and wait. You just turned a normal conversation into a game. Now he's invested. Now he's curious. Now he's thinking about you and wondering what the answer is long after you've moved on to the next topic. This works because you're giving him a chance to win something that matters, your attention. You're showing him that your approval isn't automatic, that it has to be earned. And that's not cold. That's exciting. That's what makes him feel like he's working towards something valuable, not just coasting through another casual chat. And the beauty of this is that you can use it in so many situations. Maybe you're talking about food and you say, I bet you can't handle spicy food like I can. Maybe you're at the gym and say, I bet you can't beat me to the end of the track. Maybe you're just texting and you say, I bet you can't make me laugh in one sentence. It's playful, it's light, but it gives him something to lean into. When you do this, you're creating space for him to show up. You're giving him permission to try, to flirt, to impress you. And trust me, he loves that. Even the most confident guy lights up when he feels like he's been given a chance to win over someone who isn't just handing out approval like candy. The key is to keep it fun. Smile when you say it. Don't make it a test he can fail. Make it a game he wants to play. When you challenge him this way, you're not pushing him away. You're pulling him closer. Because now he's not just interested in you, he's engaged with you. And that's the difference between a guy who drifts off after a few dates and a guy who keeps coming back, keeps texting, keeps trying. Remember, men crave that little spark of competition, that little sense of, I want to win this. And you can give them that in a way that builds connection instead of tension. It's not about manipulating him. It's about giving him a reason to put in effort. And effort is what makes him feel invested. The more effort he puts in, the more he values what he's working toward. So the next time you're tempted to keep things safe and predictable, try throwing out a playful, I bet you can't, and watch what happens. Watch how his posture changes, how his energy sharpens, how suddenly he's more present in the moment. You just turned ordinary interaction into something exciting. Because a man who has to rise to meet you is a man who will keep coming back for more. Here's the thing about attraction. Most people don't realize it's not built on constant compliments. Compliments are nice, sure, but when they're too easy, too automatic, they lose their power. What really grabs a man's attention is the mix of appreciation and curiosity, the feeling that he's earned a moment with you that actually means something. And that's why the phrase, you know what I like about you, is so powerful. It's not just what you're saying, it's how you're setting it up. The moment those words leave your mouth, he stops whatever he's doing. He's alert. He's listening. He wants to know the answer. You just created a cliffhanger in real life, and no man is going to ignore that. And here's why this is so effective. You're giving him something rare. Most of the time, people just throw out praise without thinking. You're funny. You're funny. You're nice. Those are fine, but they don't stick. They don't make someone feel special. But when you pause and say, you know what I like about you, you create a moment that feels intentional. You make him wait for it. You let the silence do some of the work. That pause is everything. It builds tension. It makes him wonder what's coming next. And while he's wondering, he's also hoping it's good. Hoping it means he impressed you. And that hope is what makes him chase. That's what makes him want to keep earning more moments like that. Now, what you say after that phrase matters. Don't waste it on something generic. Pick something that shows you're paying attention. It doesn't have to be huge. In fact, it's better when it's specific. Maybe you say, you know what I like about you? You actually listen when I talk. Or, you know what I like about you? You notice little things most people miss. That level of detail hits differently. It tells him he's not just another guy to you. This is where you start to separate yourself from everyone else in his world. Because most people don't take the time to notice, to call out the little things. When you do, you're giving him a feeling he doesn't get often. The feeling of being seen. And that feeling is addictive. People will chase whoever makes them feel seen. What's even better is that this phrase can be playful too. You can use it to tease him in a way that keeps the energy light. You know what I like about you? You're just the right amount of trouble. Now you've got him smiling, curious, maybe even blushing a little. You're drawing him in without laying all your cards on the table. And let me tell you, this works even better when you don't always finish the sentence right away. Sometimes just say, you know what I like about you, and then pause long enough for him to lean closer, to ask what. That leaning in physically or emotionally is what creates connection. You're not just giving him a compliment. You're giving him a moment he's going to replay later. That's the difference. Anyone can say nice words. Very few people create an experience out of those words. And here's the beautiful part. When you use this phrase the right way, you're also setting a standard. You're showing him that your attention, your approval comes when he does something worth noticing that makes him want to do more of those things. It makes him chase not just your time, but your recognition. So don't underestimate the power of this little phrase. It's not about flattery. It's about focus. It's about choosing a moment to let him know he stands out and doing it in a way that makes him work for the reveal just a little bit. Because a man who feels seen will always want to be seen by you again. One of the most powerful ways to keep a man engaged is to flip the frame and hand him just a little bit of pressure in a playful way. Most people think conversations are supposed to be effortless, but effortless can get boring fast. If you want him to chase, you need to give him a reason to step forward and put in a little effort. That's why I love the phrase, convince me, because it shifts the energy instantly. The second you say those words, the dynamic changes. You're not just sitting there passively taking in whatever he's saying. You're inviting him to participate, to prove, to show you something. Men thrive when they have a mission, even if it's small. And when you give him the chance to convince you, you're giving him exactly that. Imagine this. He's telling you about his favorite restaurant, and instead of just nodding and saying, cool, you smile and say, convince me why it's the best spot in town. You didn't shut him down. You didn't dismiss him. You just made him step into the conversation in a different way. Now he's not just sharing facts. He's selling you on the experience. He's invested in getting you to agree. And it doesn't stop there. You can use this phrase in so many fun, flirty ways. Maybe you're texting and he says he's good at cooking. Convince me you're actually a good cook. Now you've got him thinking of ways to show you. Maybe he brags about being funny. Convince me you can actually make me laugh. Now he's about to try harder than ever to get that reaction out of you. What makes this so effective is that it sets you apart. Most conversations he has throughout the day don't challenge him at all. They're just surface level exchanges where no one really has to try. But you just gave him something to work toward. You made him feel like his words matter because they actually have to land. And here's the secret. Men like to feel like they're earning something. They don't always admit it, but they do. They value what they work for. When you ask him to convince you, you're saying your effort counts here. And when he rises to the challenge, he gets the reward of your attention, your smile, your approval. That reward hits differently because he knows he had to work for it. The tone is important here too. You don't say it with an attitude like you're daring him to pass some impossible test. You say it with curiosity, with a little playful smirk, as if you're letting him in on a secret game. That's when it feels fun instead of heavy. That's when he feels excited instead of judged. This is also a powerful way to see how he responds under pressure. Some guys will lean in and take it as a challenge, and that tells you a lot about his confidence and his sense of humor. Others might get defensive, and that tells you something too. Either way, you're learning about him while also giving him a chance to show up for you. And the best part, the more he convinces you, the more invested he becomes. Every little win builds momentum. Every time he makes you smile or nod or agree, he feels like he's making progress. And that progress makes him want to keep going. So don't just sit back and let conversations play out on autopilot. Hand him the steering wheel sometimes, but make him drive toward something. Make him work just a little to get you to say yes, to get you to see things his way. Because a man who is working to win you over is a man who won't stop chasing. There's one more phrase that changes everything. And it's one of the most powerful because it taps into something deeper than just flirting or teasing. It taps into emotion. When you look at him and say, this feels different, you aren't just describing the moment, you're anchoring it in his mind. You're telling him that this isn't just another conversation. This isn't just another date. This isn't just another Tuesday night. This is something that stands out, something that matters. And that's what people chase, experiences that feel rare. Think about it. We all remember the moments that made us feel something different, something unexpected. When you use this phrase, you take an ordinary interaction and give it weight. It makes him pause. It makes him think, wait, why does she feel that way? What's different about this? Now, he's not just enjoying the moment, he's attaching meaning to it. And it works because most men aren't used to hearing someone call out the energy of a moment like that. They might feel it, but they don't put it into words. When you do, you make him aware of the shift, you make him present. And when he's present, he's more likely to feel connected to you on a deeper level. This is especially powerful when you use it after sharing something real. A story from your past, a dream you have, or even a moment of laughter that just hits perfectly. When you lean in and softly say, this feels different, you're basically saying, hey, what's happening here is special. And trust me, he won't forget that. Here's where it gets even better. This phrase creates emotional gravity. It makes him want to protect the moment, to prolong it, to see what happens next. That's what keeps him chasing. He doesn't want the feeling to end because you just told him it's not like anything else. And just like the other phrases, delivery is everything. You don't say it casually while checking your phone. You say it with eye contact, maybe even a slight pause before you finish. You let it land. Because when it lands, it changes the entire tone of the interaction. And this isn't about being dramatic or overly intense. You don't have to save this phrase for some big emotional confession. Sometimes it's just about the little things. Sitting in the car after a great night out, laughing about something silly, and then you say, this feels different. That's how you make him replay that night in his head later and think, man, I've never had this kind of connection with anyone before. And here's why that matters. Men chase what they can't easily replace. If you make a moment with you feel one of a kind, you make yourself unforgettable. You turn from someone he likes spending time with into someone he can't stop thinking about. This phrase also subtly invites him to share his feelings, which a lot of men struggle with. When you say, this feels different, he might respond with, yeah, it does. That tiny exchange opens the door to a deeper conversation, and that's where real connection grows. So use it. Use it when the moment calls for it, when you really feel it, and mean it when you say it. Because when you do, you create an emotional anchor he won't shake off. Because at the end of the day, a man will chase a woman who makes him feel alive, and nothing makes him feel more alive than a moment that feels different. So here's what it all comes down to. Men don't just chase beauty, they chase a feeling. And you just learned 5 simple ways to create that feeling without games, without begging for attention, without losing yourself. When you say, wasn't expecting that, you wake him up and spark his curiosity. When you challenge him with, I bet you can't, you light up his drive to impress you. When you pause and say, you know what I like about you, you make him feel seen and valued in a way he won't forget. When you flip the frame with, convince me, you keep him engaged and invested. And when you whisper, this feels different, you anchor the moment and make him crave more of it. This isn't about manipulation. This is about connection. It's about stepping out of the predictable and into something real. Because at the end of the day, you don't just want a man who notices you for a second. You want a man who chooses you every single day. A man who keeps showing up, keeps chasing, keeps fighting for that feeling he gets when he's with you. And when you learn how to